Oh my God, I forgot to record. I promised pa naman others that I'm going to share the recording. Sorry. Okay. All right. So okay, this is my sharing. When you write a textbook, these are the things that you need to remember. Because remember I drafted guidelines in DepEd for this is a co-authored guidelines. No, I just um wrote part of the guidelines because I had a co-author. So, but based on the guidelines that we have collaboratively made, these are the things that the Department of Education is actually promoting. No, so this framework has to be presented now to all publishers so that their textbooks will be rich in social content, and then those activities that they will work on will be developing the 21st century skills of the students. Again, there should be Catholic, Christian, Filipino values, and the competencies in each subject should be developed. And of course, again, there should be collaborative activities or group activities, group work. Why? Kasi according to the theory of social constructivism, learning is facilitated through social interaction. So these are the things that as a textbook author you should be remembering. Huh? Okay, so let's talk about social constructivism. What does it teach us? According to Lynch, so all knowledge develops as a result of social interaction and language use. Therefore, it has to be a shared rather than an individual experience. That's why in developing activities, learning activities, you should make sure that you provide group work or like this, no, like this small group discussion. Provide a list of questions. Okay, wherein you're targeting collaboration. So, and of course, in argumentation and debate, what do you have group members here to talk about an issue, a social issue, and they have to do to research on claim, well, to back up their claim, no? And then you can also do a role-playing activity, yeah, a panel discussion, then a web quest project, wherein they can come up with the magazine, no? So a group will feature, let's say, historical figures in the magazine. So it depends on your subject. If it is literature, then write a feature article about, let's say, Nick Joaquin. If you have read, if in your literature class you discuss about his works, advocacy project for social science. All right. There are so many things that they can work on, like at CFA, they have this advocacy project. Parang they, I forgot the name of the name of the organization. Parang they want to help those who are suffering from depression, from anxiety. Parang happiness project yata, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Leia can share later. And then we have full film production. So in arts and design, yung media arts, they ask their students to do animated films, and they can do that, no? Group research also for thesis, so that's for collaboration. And for social content, make sure that you promote gender equality, so women are represented in stories that you will be choosing. Do not just pick stories about men, but there are also stories about women, heroines. So you have to choose that, no? Advocating social justice or social equality, especially in social sciences textbook, but in English book, you can also get articles about it, promoting this. And of course, if your story, if it is a literature book that you're writing, and racial discrimination is the theme of the story, then you have to process it well. That it should be avoided, yung stereotyping. So you should phrase your questions to make the students realize that this should not be practiced, no? And then sensitivity to persons with physical disability. Oh, strong spelling. Anyway, yeah. If your story is about, well, uh, a man or a woman with disability, you also have to make them sensitive that they should not bully them like that. So in my class before, I showed them about Nick Vujicic, a man without limbs. And then we discussed that, oh, look at this man. Ay, diba si Nick Vujicic? He was bullied before, and he thought of committing suicide because he could not do any, at that time he couldn't do anything about, the comments, 'di ba, yung negative criticism of his classmates. And then his mother told him, oh, his mother showed him a picture of a similar person with disability, and from there he realized that, oh, he should not really commit suicide. And later on he became an inspiration, 'di ba? He traveled to different places, telling people that, hey, even if you are disabled, you can also be a productive citizen of your country. You can make a difference in the lives of others. And then you have environmental protection, awareness of social issues. This one is very important. 'Di ba? If you're a science teacher, make sure to inculcate this value of preserving Mother Earth. How can they help? So yung awareness of social issues is, 'di ba? You can, if I have a book, if I am still writing a textbook now, I'll be getting an open letter. Parang that will be one of my readings in my book, like yung mandato, parang it's actually parang it's against an open letter to the Filipino people ba? I forgot yung against the government's mandatory vaccination, ayo, 'di ba? Although you are pro vaccine. Kasi parang it's still all vaccines daw naman are in a trial pa, 'di ba? Clinical trial. So bakit nila mandatory? So iyon. So ang ginawa ko, so yung article na yon, I save it in my file. Maybe in the future I can use that, no? Okay, next, what other things you have to include in your textbook? 21st century skills, 'di ba? Okay, yung learning skills, yung critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. In designing activities, ayan, you have to focus on this, yung learning skills. Katulad ng nakaka-develop ba yan ng critical thinking, ng creativity, 'di ba? Mayroon bang group work yan? Do they communicate? Siyempre, literacy skills like information literacy. Do they know how to differentiate fake news from factual news, 'di ba? Fake yung fake news from factual information, mga ganun. Tapos media, can they use the different forms of media? Like may podcast na ngayon, you can do a live podcast, 'di ba? May Facebook live na rin, you can do that. So how do our students use YouTube, 'di ba? YouTube platform in promoting a particular ideology or a particular advocacy, pwede 'yon, 'di ba? And then also, yeah, so we have actually three: technology, media, and information. And then life skills, teach them how to become flexible, no? They should be able to accept changes, no? In terms of schedule, changes of plans, no? They should not be rigid. Tapos leadership, di ba, when you do collaborative work, then you assign a leader. No, don't assign. Maybe you can tell the students to assign or appoint their own leaders. But, when they are the ones who vote for their leaders in their groups, then there is a sense of ownership. They will respect their leaders, and it's easy for them to follow. And then initiative. So during the group work, I think you can see those people who take initiative in doing most of the task, and then you need to reward those who have you show initiative, and you also need to mention the value of initiative in an organization, especially when they become, young professionals. So productivity. So how productive are they? Do they make use of their time efficiently? Do they know how to manage their time and then yun, developing social skills. So these are the things that you need to consider when designing instructional materials or activities for a textbook. So again, maybe a publisher will contact you about this. All right, if you know of a publisher, you can actually pitch your book or pitch your idea or ideas, a proposal for a textbook. Yeah, and then maybe they will hire you, no, to be a book author or textbook author. So by the way, no, it's just an accident that I was able to publish a textbook sometime in 2013. I was a teacher then. I was a new teacher in a university, and I met Dena. Our meeting place at the toilet. And so I met her there. Sabi ko, Dena, Miss Dena Colaba, my co-author. Then they have a book project. You see, because in the past, I had a co-teacher. I was inviting her to write a book. We'll finish it and we'll try to sell it to a publisher. But then my co-teacher never agreed, no? And so I said, then they have a book project, and then maybe we can work together. So it's just a plain question. And you know what she said? Oh yes, Neri. You're sabi niya, it's yeah, it's timely that you ask that question. You know why? Because I'm going to give up now that book because I'm so busy. And then I said, don't give up. I will help you. So that no that particular conversation, no, led to my being a co-author of her book. That was in 2012. We started writing it in 2012. We finished it, and it got printed. The book got printed in 2013. O, 'di ba? So it's just a kumustahan, no? Kumusta ka na? Kumustahan uh, of all the places, no, sa toilet. So anyway, ayan. So sa Catholic, ano naman, when you write also your textbook, be sure that you promote the following values. Siyempre, love for God and neighbor. Yung ating Filipinos, spirit, no, yung bayanihan, yung service, integrity, nationalism, hospitality, respect, and compassion. Ayun. Alright, so ito naman yung learning competencies ng DepEd, no? Ito yun, for example, use the appropriate reading style, song lesson mo dyan, scanning, skimming. So I'm not going to detail anymore these competencies, no? I mean, you observe subject verb agreement. So just to let you know how English lessons are done by authors, we follow specific competencies from DepEd, and we also consider the performance standard here, that they must be able to comprehend the text. All right, so look at this. Ayan, oh, our co-authored book. So Leia is here, no? In our audience. So see, this is my okay. This is the book that I'm telling you earlier, no, or that I was telling you earlier. The first edition of this book was published in 2013. And so here's Dena, no, my co-author, and she's busy again. So actually, we asked the help of Leia to help us complete the book because my co-author was busy. So I asked Leia to help me. All right. So that's actually the second edition, which we published only last year. Ayan, so I will be getting a sample from there to to give you an idea how we actually finished that book. So how we designed that book. So first you have the objectives coming from the Department of Education, right? So skimming is the lesson, and then we have volume or projection. Tapos what else? Colloquial. Ito, colloquial language. Ano pa? Genre. I mean, elements of a particular genre. This time, epic, kasi epic yung lesson. Tapos, differentiate literary writing from academic writing. So, and then we have subject-verb agreement. So, notice, iScope is a motivational activity. So, as a writer or as an author, be the one to design an activity that will develop curiosity among your learners, to encourage them to read the story. Do you know of a person who's done heroic deeds for other people? So share a story about heroism. Because Lamang kasi is a hero in the story. And then after that, okay, after the motivational activity, get specific vocabulary from the story. And then you provide options like this. And then you discuss about colloquial expressions that were used in the story, like ask for a combination of preposition, arms with, tapos rejects or advances. If there's no colloquial expression, then you leave it as blank. All right? And then this is the story of, this is the information about Biyag ni Lamang that I did research, that I I made a research on, no? For example, this one published around 1640. So you really need to do some research about the story, a simple background, and then you have to write, yeah, copy the text itself verbatim, and then you cite the source, and then you design questions that will tackle or develop higher order thinking skills. You start with, simple, simple recall, two unique things Lamang was gifted with, and the age of Lamang. So simple questions of recall. So this is not higher level. How would you describe the fight? This one is description. So it's comprehension. So moving on to this one is simple recall. This one is comprehension. And with so many suitors, simple recall. How did Lamang win in his heart? So still parang comprehension. No? What kind of dowry? Describe the wedding. So it's more of summarizing. So higher order. And what wedding tradition? Again, it's more of analyzing the story, getting into the culture of the Ilocanos. And then this one is an activity which depicts, values. Oo, yung Christian, Catholic, or Christian values. No? What are the values of Lamang? As a hero, what can you say about him? Ayan. And then after that, yeah, they have to analyze elements of epic. They have to read it from, so there is another reading material that they have to read, that they have to visit. The link has to, I think, we just gave the link because it's so long, so they have to study that there. This one, yung what specific cultural practices or traditions, yung higher order, di ba, thinking skill, no? So more on analyzing. And then you have story map, di ba, story map of Lamang, so that's synthesizing. And then you have the reading skill, so skimming. I think you know that one. So there. And then it's about speaking. So discuss how volume affects changes. So when the teacher whispers, "Go out of the room," and then speak softly to the class. And then they say speaking with normal volume. And then this one is shouting. So what is the emotion expressed? So the volume of our voice reflects our emotion. So if you're shouting, then it expresses anger. So that is how we utilize volume, not to express emotions. And then you have the viewing skills, but there is there is a lesson here, like they need to identify the word from the movie, from the video clip that they watch. They need to identify the prefix used, suffix, and then the meaning of the word. So they studied this in the previous lesson. So it's just an activity. And then you have the speaking skills. React on how he relates to your sorry, what makes a hero. So they are asked to watch a video about a hero, characteristics of a hero. So if you notice, the video clip that we are using is relevant to the theme of the story, which is a hero, no, yung heroic acts and features of a hero. Sorry. And then they have to share their reflections using appropriate volume, projection, and pitch. For a while, it's kind of hot, so okay. So I hope you will not be distracted by my electric. Sorry. Okay, so this one is subject and verb agreement. All right, so the rules. And then another lesson on literary writing versus academic writing. Okay, notice that I used my, okay, sorry. Noticed here that I used my student's work. It's a paragraph. My student's work from the LaSalle. I asked his permission. So if you have a student whose work is really good, you can actually ask for permission. Oh, there. I use my story, Recurring Dream. again, what's my what's the reason why I was able to publish a book in just, let's say, even if I am busy? Why? Because I blogged. I started blogging sometime in 2000, when 2009 or 2010, if I'm not mistaken. I attended a recollection before, and in my meditation, you believe in meditation? I was alone walking. Um, I actually decided to take a walk outside the conference hall, and they're under a huge tree because there, okay, there were many trees. Yeah, there are many trees in the place. So I just took a walk and then had my reflection under a tree. And then I was just thinking and reflecting on the gospel. I was also praying. And then there came a voice. You know what a voice said? It was clear. It was pretty clear, and I'm not sure. Kasi sabi ko naman, if it is not God's voice, hindi naman siya pwedeng, ano, negative. Hindi naman siya negative, eh, sabi niya. Use your talent. So it's very clear. Use your talent to bring more people to me. Sabi ko, use my talent to bring your... Sabi ko, what is my talent then? So I was thinking, anong talent ko? I was a teacher then na, no? So what I did, sabi ko, I love to write. But you see, my writing is, of course, yung ating writing, no, early stages pa yun. Parang, hindi pala, hindi pa ako nagsusulat noon eh. Parang 2009, parang I started writing lang. Pero I'm an English teacher then, but I'm already, ano, a teacher then, no? Kaya lang I don't really know how to write pa. So I decided na, okay, I'm going to listen to the voice. So I started blogging. So even if there are some, glitches, siguro grammar errors, because I really just I started writing, I didn't edit. And then when I went back to there were, diba sabi ko, there are errors. So when I go back, I edit sometimes, pero if I don't have time, I just let it be. Pero there's still errors that I notice. Kasi when we write, di ba when we write, there's things that we don't know that we committed mistakes. So what we really have to go back and then see some mistakes we committed and then correct them. So yun, that time, when I started blogging, I whatever experiences I had, I blogged. I blogged every experience I had. Parang every week I had one post. And then after sometimes after 4 years I stopped blogging because I became so busy. And then that was the time that somebody told diba that was the time that I asked Dana, "Oh Dana, you have a book project." So and when I looked at my blogs there, my post, I was able to find, paragraphs which I was able to include in my books. The first book that I wrote, diba, in 2013, English 7. In 2016, I was able to publish a reading and writing book. So it's also a co-authored book. And it's about composition writing. And you see, you have to provide examples. And when you provide examples, you need permission from authors. And when I asked permission from Philippine Daily Enquirer just to get just an article, they charge us something like, although it's cheap, no, it's 1,000 pesos per article. So if we use 10 articles, it's 10,000, but still cheap, no? Because when I asked for a permission from a poet, she was charging me something like 5,000 for a very short poem. So I didn't get her poem. So you see, if you I this time, if you notice, this is from my no. If you notice, yung recurring dream is a story that I made about the death of my mother. And then if you notice, yung silent scream is an excerpt from my own poem. Kasi it's about literary writing, no? Grief, a five-letter word, yet a very powerful feeling that can enslave anyone. Even me, I feel its pangs, piercing my very soul. It's like a venom poisoning me to the core. So, at that time, I was kind of, sad, and I felt so sad that I was able to write about this. Ayan. Tapos ito, I got it from, from Manuel Argilia. I don't ask for permission anymore kasi 50 years na ata to eh, if I'm not mistaken. Pag 50 years ago na. So if an article was published 50 years ago, it becomes a public domain. You don't need to ask permission from an author. Kaya I'm so blessed, 'di ba? I'm so blessed that I was able to write poetry, essays and stories, no. Because of that, I was able to get it to get some of my paragraphs I edited lang. And then those are examples that I made for paragraph writing, for essay writing, and then for activities like this. Determine whether it is literary writing or academic writing. And for academic writing, I use my research article. A portion of that, I use that for academic writing, and then I got from another author. So see, and then for engagement, this is the last. They have to make a comic strip consisting of 6 frames retelling the life and adventures of Lamang. And then when they role play it, they have to observe proper volume, pitch, and projection. Okay, so that's it. I have shared with you my experiences, no, on how I was able to write a book. I also shared about some tips that you can use your experiences. You can start writing now or blogging now so that it maybe in the future you can get some for your textbook if you will be tapped by a publishing company. All right. Or for Collins, diba, what did Collins say when writing a non-fiction book? You need to develop your skills. You should ask your question why you need to write a book. You need to dedicate a you need to commit yourself to finishing the book and have a writing space. What else? Write as fast as you can without editing. Let it sit if you're done with it and then go back after some time. What else? Do some research. Diba? It's very important to do some research, especially if you will be discussing about discussing about leadership. If your topic is highly educational, but if your topic is about your hobbies, you can still do some research. Like stitching. Oh, now it's parang gardening is is gaining popularity. You also need to discuss yung the different species of plants, di ba? If you would like to tell them how to take care of plants, you need to do some research too. Okay? So let me end with my presentation with this quote. To whom much is given, much is required. From Luke 12:48. So God has given you talents, perhaps talent in terms of communication or in writing. And I believe that you have to use that to be able to inspire others to be able to make a difference in their lives so that they can inspire others too. All right. Thank you for listening. And if you have some questions, yeah, I am now accommodating your questions. Oh, yeah, Miss Irene, you're writing a textbook. Do you find a publisher first and then write, or start writing the book and pitch in to a publisher? Wow, that's a very good question. Okay, so if it is a textbook, it's better that you try to sell first, so to a publisher, because sometimes it's because the publisher will have a say on how you will write the books, what else is needed in that. But this is what this is the trend in America, no. This is what the writers do there. They actually come up with the proposal. So they have an idea in mind, so they will be presenting the contents. If oh yeah, some of them they present the contents of the book. They're not yet writing it, and then they find an agent, and the agent will actually pitch it to a publisher, and then the publisher, once the idea is good or is acceptable, the publisher together with the agent will talk to the author, the writer, and then they will negotiate on the terms and conditions, and then if the publisher has suggestions, then the publisher will actually put all those recommendations. But in the case of Samantha Soto, it's the other way around. She finished her book first, and then after that, finding a publisher or an agent. It's a case-to-case basis. For a textbook, I suggest you find a publisher. But for a novel, I think it's okay not to find a publisher as long as you will be producing a quality novel, no? All right. Fiction, love story yun, diba? Romance kasi is number one. And then thriller, yung ano, diba, yung mga adventure, dystopian novel, literature kasi ang trend ngayon. Para yung mga Hunger Games, mga ganun, no? Oo, sa mga ganun. Maganda rin yung heroine, maganda rin yung women ang heroine mo. Ano nga ba yung nabas? Ano ba yung ating pinanood na magandang movie? Dystopian, yung babae, yung bida, I forgot. So, yung may erudite, ano ba yun? The Divergent. Ayan, in writing a self-help book, okay, yan, do we decide on the framework or parts of the book freely and design it creatively? Oh, wow, galing ng tanong. Uh, on the framework or parts? Yeah, actually, you will be the one to decide there. Are you a plotter? Ano yon sinabi ko kanina? So, if you are a plotter, pag plotter ka, 'di ba, you need an outline, you need a framework for your book. Sa textbook kasi, you really need to make an outline. Yung textbook writers talaga ay plotters kasi you really need to plan what will be your unit 1, your unit 2, because the Department of Education has this competencies laid down for each grade level for a particular subject. All right. But if you are writing a self-help book or a non-fiction book, um, it depends on you. If you are a plotter, then you make an outline. In my case, outlining is really important for me because I actually, 'di ba, divide the chapters into chunks. I start, finishing writing you the first chapter first, diba? I start writing the first chapter, then go on to the next chapter until the last. So it's so easy for me if I plan. But for the others kasi they have an idea in mind on what to write. So what they do is they just write, and then after writing everything, then they will be the ones to label the parts. Oh, this one is about this one is about that. Diba? Yung label, ito yung functions of, whatever is your topic, diba? Saka mo pa lang siya ile-label. Dun yun sa panzer. Pag story, novel, diba? Parang plot lang talaga. Yung iba may chapters din, yung novels nila, diba? But then, tsaka pa lang nila nililabel ng chapters yung novel kapag natapos na nila. Yun yung panzer. So, it depends on you kung saan ka komportable. Okay, so I think Miss Connie, you want to ask something? Miss Connie? Parang nakita kita. Aha. So, there. Aha. Oo, si Miss Mer Santos raw, very inspiring. Oh, thank you, Miss Santos. Oo. Other questions? O kung wala kayong tanong at habang kayo ay nag-iisip pa ng tanong, eto naman po ang aking ibibigay sa inyo na assignment na lang. Ano po ang ating magiging assignment? Kasi you need to, to plan. If you want to publish a book, you really need to have an action plan. And what I'm going to ask you to do right now is to plan for the title. If you cannot think of a title, perhaps genre. Are you writing a non-fiction or fiction? or you want to write a textbook, that can also be, right? So what I'm going to ask you at this time is perhaps do your assignment kasi we don't have much time at now. I will be sharing my screen and will ask you to do this at home. I can give you this, my action plan. You write your name, so it's a commitment form for you. So your name, the date today, and then I will create a GC for this group, ha. And I'll try in 1 year's time. I'll get back to this GC. Oh, what have you done so far? Okay, title of my dream book. Ayan, genre, is it fiction or non-fiction or is it a textbook? Pages, how many pages do you think you will parang approximate number of pages? For a novel, 40,000 is okay. 40,000 words yata yun, no? 40,000 words. Pages, 200 pages. Parang yung 40,000 words. Etong pages, mga 200 or 300 pages. Pwede na yun. Target readers, is it for teenagers, for professionals, or for young adults? O yan. Is it for senior citizens? Ayan. Mind you, only very few are senior citizens siguro, no? So, maybe you target the middle population, middle age, no? Or teens. Okay, next. What is it about? 'Di ba? My book, what is it, leadership book? Is it entrepreneurship book? Or is it about your hobby? My photography book is, if that is the case, aims to help or teaches your readers to blank. Yun, 'di ba? Yung binakita ko kanina. And then when will I complete it? Today is December 4. So you want it to be completed December 4, 2022, or you want it faster, shorter, o baka gusto nyo, baka February, you can already publish your book, no? Target publisher, United States of America ba? You find an agent. National bookstore ba? Merong may marketing arm ang National Bookstore, ha? Hindi pala marketing arm. Publisher. Anvil. Anvil. Sa Pilipinas, pwede ka Anvil. Ah, ano ba yung mga sa ano, eto pwede kang self-publish, ang tawag doon, self-publishing. Pero you have to sell your book in Amazon.com. So when you give your book in Amazon, it has to be formatted na PDF o kaya, anong tawag doon? Kindle format. So, pwede yon. Kaya lang, you need to spend something like, siguro not 100K. You ask help from friends if you know a graphic artist who can design your cover book. Book cover pala, book cover. Ayun. So, assignment to, ha, I'll give it to you. Tapos, I will create a GC. And kasi I want to know who among the participants, you're 8 now. Ayan, if you have already written one, I want you to create your second book. Okay? Okay ba? I will give it to you. Sige. Any more question? Any more question here? I'm going to send to you the action plan, which you can, there is the action plan. Okay, and while you're thinking of your question, I also would like to ask you to evaluate our webinar this morning, because again, I'm listening to feedback. We're not perfect and we want to improve on our craft. So I am accepting, your constructive feedback. Thank you. So you can answer now the feedback. I love that excerpt from the blog. Really got the imagination flowing. Thank you, Angel. So Angel is actually my student. No, Angel hindi pala student, no. Parang editor-in-chief pala. We work together. Si Miss Leia La Pastora is here also. Angel. AJ. Miss Leia is also here. So we are the former advisors of AJ. Ariola. And I invited her to join in today's webinar because I believe in her and she can publish a book kasi she's a very good writer. Miss Curry is also my student, no? The president of our department, president naman. Yeah, College of Education, right? So Miss Curry, ayan. So very informative. Thank you. So Miss Curry, you want also kasi you know Miss Carrie's birthday yesterday. So let's greet Miss Carrie a happy birthday. Yeah, belated happy birthday. Si Miss Caridad Meneses. Si Sir Penlac, oh, media person to and he writes scripts. 'Di ba, sir? And you're a very good writer. Very good in your craft. So this time, I want you to publish a book. Kaya po in-invite ko rin si Mr. Penlac. Okay? So, wala na po ba kayong tanong? Ayan, 'di ba very good. Kung napapanood niyo po yung mga Siete Palabras ni Sir Penlac sa Channel 7, siya po yung writer nun. Siya yata ang director pa. Ayan, kaya si Sir Penlac. Wala na po ba kayong tanong, mga kapatid, mga kapatid tuloy, friends? Do you have questions? Na-inspire ko po ba sa kayong mag-publish ng book? Okay, pakilagay ang thumbs up nga kung na-inspire ko kayo. Lagyan ng emoticon. Magpakita. Maybe you have to turn on your camera for our pic photo op at this time and put anong emoticon nyo. Maybe like if I was able to inspire you to write your own book. Ayan, that's my advocacy, no, for you to write your own book. Oh, may question daw. O sige, Miss Leia, anong question mo? Si Miss Leia pala, co-author ko yan. Si co-author ko si Leia ng English 7 book, o, diba? Eh, ngayon gusto ko, magkaroon naman siya ng non-fiction book, o, diba? Nasaan si Leia? Leia, may question ka, diba? Okay, so ayan, si Leia. Ang sabi ni Leia, in some projects daw, there are people working in a certain task like writer, editor, proofreader, better reader, aside from the graphic artist. Can you give us an idea of their job description based on your experience? If we intend to ask people to help us, can we just limit it to a proofreader lang? Okay. Oo, kasi yung editor, titingnan niya. So, her role is to really identify what needs to be 'di ba? What needs to be edited. So she can actually make suggestions or she can edit it herself. All right? She can add, figurative language, 'di ba? She can make your writing vivid. Let's say if she thinks this one is so plain, it's a plain language, 'di ba? You use plain language and she wants it to be parang vivid. So she will be suggesting vivid expressions or maybe dialogue for you. And that's the role of the editor. And then if she needs, let's say, if you need to rewrite it or add a portion, she will give you suggestions. I think, Miss Leia, you need to add this. So before you go to the climax part of your novel, I think you missed one event. You need to add one more, one more, parang one more event that will untie the knot or somehow that will lead to the climax pala. Sorry, untying the knot pala towards the end na, no? So, siya yung magsasabi sa'yo, parang may kulang, okay? Parang may kulang ka sa conflict resolution. Parang biglang nasobang storya, parang hindi logical. So, siya yung magsasabi nun. Yun yung role ng editor to give you a suggestion that, hey, your story needs rewriting, especially this part of the climax. It has to be climactic and every event should lead to 'di ba, a more parang suspenseful parang part. It needs to be more suspenseful so that your readers will be excited to read until the end. So parang you were not able to establish that. So that's the role of the editor. The role of the proofreader is the story is already perfect. No, almost perfect in terms of plot. Meaning it's very good na in terms of parang storyline. The only thing there are lapses in spelling perhaps that you missed out, grammar errors. So yun lang yung reader. Yung editor yung kabuuan, yung organization. All right? Yung graphic artist naman, yung kung book cover, 'di ba? yung book cover. Kung poetry ka naman, kung collection of poems, yung designs, ano ba yun? Ano tawag doon? Graphics, ano ba yun? Drawing sketches dun sa poetry mo. So, depende. Ayun. So, yung editor, proofreader, better reader, siguro editor na lang, wala nang better reader pa, no? So, para ma-limit yung expenses mo. Ang pinaka-importante lang dito, graphic artist for your book cover, proofreader, and, ano yun, editor. Yung tatlo lang. Tatlo lang ngayon, okay ka na. Tapos, syempre, you also have to spend for ISBN, no? Kung sa Amerika yan, yung publisher naman siguro. Kung may publisher ka naman, for example, gusto mo sa Amerika, may publisher na i-pitch na yung book mo, sila na mismo ang mag-edit. Ang maganda doon, ano, gandahan mo talaga yung book mo. Pag nakuha siya ng publisher, there is no, alright, there will be no expenses on your part. Let's say, silang babayad ng editing, ng proofreading, ng design, ng graphic artist. So talagang maganda kapag sa US ang nakakuha sa'yo, di ba? Kaya dapat ano, kung magandang-maganda talaga yung non-fiction mo, talagang ano, pwede rin kasi reference book eh. You know what? I'll give you an idea. If you have your MA thesis, especially those who are studying, kung yung MA thesis nyo ay magandang-maganda, you can turn it into a book, reference book. And then you can pitch it to a publisher in the US. Kasi dito sa Philippines, reference book, they don't mind it. Diba in the Philippines, they don't buy it. So maybe in America, you can find readers. Okay, ano pa? Yeah, welcome sa nag-thank you sa okay, may tanong pa po kayo? Yes, Mr. Rizal. Uy, hindi pa tayo nag-picture taking. Sa paper daw sa training manual. Sige, sige. Next time. Siguro yung training manual. Lahat po tayo, mag-picture na tayo para at least tanggalin ko yan. Okay, let's take a photo. Ayan, ayan. Sige, teka lang. Bakit ganon? Teka lang. So, tanggalin ko yung electric fan, sorry Ayan, so, gawin, sige, smile. Ayan. One more. Ayan, thank you. So, may tanong pa po ba before we call it a day? May tanong. Uy, thank you. Thank you sa pagdalo nyo, ha. Thank you sa aking pag-invite tapos pumunta kayo. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you din.
Thank you.
May tanong pa po ba? Wala na. Okay. So salamat po ng marami and goodbye. See you again kung may next seminar. May next seminar pa po pala ako sa Sabado. Ano naman yun leadership naman. I-promote eh. Yung seminar naman sa Sabado is, kasi based on what I read about Pibig's book, yung Stand Out, at saka yung continuation siya ng effective communication about it. So ano siya, the power of influence through inclusive leadership. Kung paano tayo mag-handle ng tao. Tapos, it can also be how to handle your children, diba? So, sa parents, kasi minsan, diba, we are enforcing to them what we want, pero we don't give them time to talk. Parang, pwede rin ganon. So, sa next meeting, it's more of workplace naman. Kasi dati, it's about students. So, sana naman sa Sabado, the power of influence. I'll share about yung mga 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership by Maxwell, and then yung principle ng ethical leadership sa Standout ni Paulo Tibing. So, iyon. And then, the rest yung Catalyst webinar that I have attended. Okay, so thank you so much. Enjoy your lunch. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Miss
Thanks,
Thank
Miss
you.
Mary.
Yung
Thank
certificate
you, Miss
pala.
Mary. Thank you, Miss Mary. Thank you.
Yung certificate
Bye.
yun na lang. Bye. Bye. Hi, Connie. Bye.